Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Above the Bar podcast, where each week we belly up to the bar with a new guest, find out what they do, who they are, and what makes them great. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the Above the Bar podcast. It's your host, Sean, here with my co-host, Dibs. We're back. You know, it looks like a little bit of a crowded screen today, but this was a necessary evil. We have an opportunity here. You got to do this when you have it. We've got the, let's see, we'll go through this. We got the homeschool hammer on the ice, and we've got the monster from Millersville out here joining us today. Two of the I'm just going to just keep pumping your heads up and everything. Rising stars in the world of hockey. We had this opportunity, and especially after last week's episode where we were talking about traditional roles for men and how those things work, an opportunity to talk to young ladies, to women that are breaking stereotypes and showing that it's just not. So I have to take this opportunity and welcome to the show and making sure I got all my stuff together, because I got my new board over here. I'm still jacking up every time. So this opportunity we have, and Taylor, I'm going to jack your last name up. I just want you to know that right now. I'm apologizing. This is a thing, but I'm going to try. We have Taylor Schwandt. Did I get it?
Yep, you got it.
Taylor Schwandt. That's living with a lot of Polish people in your life. Sydney Babin. Look at that. You didn't know you were getting applause into it today, did you? Welcome. And don't be so excited. Hey, hi. Say hi back.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi,
There
everybody.
we go. That's what I'm looking for. But yeah, folks, so those of you that are just joining us right now, please take a moment, like, share, do all those kind of things. We have Taylor and Sydney joining us. We're going to be talking about hockey. We're going to talk about that transition going from high school into college sports and then going into semi-pro sports for Taylor, what that's like for folks. You always hear about, pro athletes in football. One of the things you always hear is the game's faster. Baseball, the game's faster. Is it really faster? What are the changes that they've experienced? So we're going to be doing that here in a moment. Let's go ahead and get some house cleaning done. First thing is, over my right shoulder, we got sticker and a cause, the big board. And we got a sticker here. We're going to be talking about that in a moment. If you've got something you support, you've got your own private business, you've got a sports team, you've got a club, your own podcast, whatever it is, reach out to me on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, even our email. It's all the Above the Bar podcast. Email is @gmail.com. Send me a message. Let me know what you got going on. Let me know what you're trying to support. We'll then turn around. You send me the sticker out. We'll put the sticker on the big board so that everybody knows about it. Today, y'all like my haircut? I'm looking good.
Yeah, you look like a gunny.
Sharp.
Looks fresh.
And look at that. And it is fresh. That's because, pow, look at that. Manila Barbershop here in the capital region. Look at that. Big Mike Manila. I keep telling him, I messed him up one day. I saw a picture of his newborn son on like Instagram or something. And I was like, oh, how's my son doing? And he's like, the next time I got a haircut, he's like, dude, my wife kept asking, like, who the hell is this saying that's your son? I'm like, that's even better. So if you're in the capital region and you're looking for a good fresh cut, make sure you reach out to Manila Barbershop. It's right there. If you Google Manila Barbershop, his family actually owns Bella Napoli, the big bakeries out here, the Italian bakery, Bella Napoli. So Mike Manila right there in Latham. We'll stick that up on the big board here in a minute. But maybe your media is still stuck in Pee Wee and isn't getting any ice time, and you're trying to get it a little bit better there. Make sure you're reaching out to Media by Dibs. That's Media by Dibs, DIBS, on Instagram and on Facebook, Media by Dibs, and on LinkedIn, you can look up Andrew Dibble, DIBBLE. Look, no S, DIBBLE. And you reach out to Andrew and let him know that you're here to belly up to the bar. He's going to give you a 10% discount on your first order, and he's going to give you a free consultation on your media. So make sure you're reaching out to Media by Dibs. So, all right, house cleaning's done. Everything's situated. We're ready to rock and roll. We're already getting comments over here. I'm I'm gonna need a fresh cut. Somebody, let's see. Oh, I don't. You guys had to tell me if you know who that is. XMC Supermax. I'm not sure who that is on Twitch.
I shared it all over the damn thing.
But look, XMC, if you're in the capital region, hit me up. I'll get you over to Mike. He'll tighten you right on up. So, who wants to go first? Who wants to lead this? Because here's my curiosity. You both have been playing. How long have you been playing hockey there, Sydney?
I've been skating since I was 4 years old.
God, I can't even stand on skates. I'll fall right on my ass. It's so bad. Taylor, how about you?
So I don't really remember when I started skating, probably not till 7 or 8. And then I got into hockey when I was 10. I didn't formally play until I was like 10, 11-ish. So I've been in almost 14 years.
Wow. So I guess my first curiosity for both of you is why hockey? I mean, I know one of you kind of somebody above you probably talked you into it and everything, but
I'm sure Babs had nothing to do with it. Nothing whatsoever.
No.
But
Nothing at all.
what was your drive? I mean, because let's be honest, hockey is one of those sports that traditionally it's a men's sport. It's guys doing it. You hear more women's basketball if you're going to hear about a sport or soccer. Why hockey?
Taylor, you want to go first? You want me?
I'll take it. So some of my family kind of grew up playing, like my dad and his brothers played a little bit. And my mom's brother also happened to play a bit in high school. And they were always hockey fans, my mom and my dad. And they wanted us to get into sports. And I think they wanted us to definitely at least try it and see me, my sister. And we both got into it. I'm just the one that kind of stuck with it. And here I am now.
Just say it. You were the one that was better at it. Don't say it. You didn't say it, Taylor, because you could see that on the tip of your tongue, like she played, but I was just better at it.
To be fair, she was a defenseman, so I can't compare. But shout out to her because when we were younger and she was a defenseman in front of me, I treated her very poorly. So shout out to my sister, for dealing with me.
How do you treat a defense? All right, one of you can answer that because and everyone who knows me knows I don't play hockey. I don't watch hockey. I make fun of hockey. Like, to me, hockey is like wants to be lacrosse, is my opinion. Because at least that's my thoughts on it. Look,
you're right.
Yeah, same.
And they both laugh.
I know I'm the odd person out in this, but I respect the ability because up here by us, they had one of those hockey treadmills. Have you ever seen one of those things?
Yep.
That thing was silly. Like 45-degree angle on. I'm telling you, I couldn't stand on skates. I bust my ass right away. So, but how as a goalie do you abuse a defense person? Like, I don't know how that works. Sydney,
You
you're
yell at
smiling.
them.
I mean, I know for a fact I yell at my defense a lot, mainly because I'm short. So I can't see, and I have to tell them to get out of my way.
Retweet.
Sometimes
Sometimes that
that
leads into
screen.
some words that, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The
words
screen
that
worked
probably shouldn't
against
be
you.
said sometimes, but heat of the moment, things got to be said. You got to get them out of your way. So.
Now, is this the only sport that both of you play?
Yes.
What was so full time only thing for you, Sydney? How about you, Taylor?
Yeah.
So yeah, for me growing up, it was like that. And then I actually got asked my junior year of college to play field hockey. And I thought I was going to be a goalie. So I said, yeah, sure. Why not? And turns out they only needed forwards. I was sitting in front of the coach in her office and I'm like, oh, I can't say no. I can't say no. So I joined. And then senior year, I also got roped into playing tennis. So I ended up playing tennis. And yeah, they really needed some athletes and they knew they could call me.
Well, I don't think, did I tell you my cousin graduated from Millersville?
Really?
Yeah, like many moons ago.
I'm gonna say 700 years ago on show.
No, she's younger than me. She's like she's the next to the youngest of us. So it was actually probably at this point 10 years ago, 12 years ago she graduated from there, but it was a while ago. So
Sydney was what, 8, 9, 10 years ago?
Yeah. So
8.
So as you're going through this, and obviously, you played, I don't know if your high schools, I know Sydney, you said you were homeschooled, but you're playing on travel leagues, you're going through this. What was that? And I kind of hinted at this at the beginning. We always hear people talk about, all the games gotten faster when I moved from this level to that level. What was that like for you in that transition to that faster game?
What, from high school to college?
Yeah, absolutely.
Honestly, I wouldn't say that it's too much faster from where I'm playing, because I was playing at the 19U level. I was playing top tier. So I wouldn't say it's faster, but I would definitely say it's smarter. So in a way, I guess you can say that it's faster because things are happening quicker decisions, stuff like that. But I wouldn't necessarily say quicker per se.
Now, what do you mean by smarter?
There's a huge difference when it comes into coaches with youth hockey compared to college coaches. Drills, honestly, the systems that I'm learning now in college, I've honestly never seen in youth
That's what I was
hockey.
just gonna ask. Is you basically go from that level of just kind of pass and shoot to where you actually have coaches running systems where you.
Exactly.
That's a one thing I hear Miles say is talking about defenders. Like the defense isn't just, they aren't running my system. They aren't going with my, and he gets so pissed off.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that intelligence level, the intellect level having to go up as you guys advance in leagues.
Yeah. You can see a huge difference from the lower level players to the higher level players for sure.
Taylor. What do they mean by system? Taylor, what does that mean? I don't know what the hell they're talking about. Help me out here. I don't know what they're talking about.
So systems are like the way the forwards are set up and the way the defense are set up and how they make certain plays and how certain plays kind of come about, especially rushing out of the zone and things like power plays, penalty kills, stuff like that, if that helps.
Oh, so you're just talking about the plays that you're running are better and more sophisticated.
Yes.
Yeah,
pretty
see,
much.
this is what I'm talking about.
I love it.
So
Yeah.
now I've had some college athletes in my family, people that have played at that Division I level, playing at these upper tiers. And one of the things they all talk about is that recruitment process. And there's a lot of people out here that are going to hear this, then they may be thinking about, hey, my kid is thinking about, I think my kid can play at that level, or I think I can go into that level, or getting recruited. What are some of the things that you experienced in that recruiting process, or things that you realize now, Sydney, with you just going through it, and Taylor, and looking back and thinking to yourself, hey, I wish I would have, or these are things that are going on in this process. Talk to some folks about going to that next level. What was that experience like?
I
For
think
me, honestly, sorry, if you want to go, you can
no, go ahead. I feel like I've talked a lot and I'm really bad at talking over people. So I'm gonna let Sydney take it.
For me, I don't think the recruiting process was too difficult. I definitely took my time with it. I don't think I committed until about a quarter of a way through my senior year. So I was really trying to think about where I wanted to go. I applied to multiple different schools. I got into every school that I applied to, but I came to Wilkes for a visit and instantly fell in love with the school. So I thought it was a pretty easy process for me.
How about you, Taylor?
From what I remember, since it feels forever ago, yeah, I mean, a lot of it was just taking the time to research schools. You have to think about kind of what you want to major in because not every school will have that. So you have to look on the academics as well as the athletic side. And then it's about applying to schools, making sure you're reaching out to those coaches, giving them your schedule, just introducing yourself. And one of the first colleges I actually got an offer to, I had went up to the coach. I didn't even know they were starting a program that year. I just saw her at the rink at one of the tournaments. I just walked up and introduced myself, like, hi, my name's Taylor Schwandt. I'm a goalie I was at the Northern Cyclones at the time, and I'm playing at 7 o'clock tonight. I'm really interested in your school, even though I didn't even know about the school at the time. And I'm really interested in your school. And would you want to come watch my game tonight? And she was like, yeah, sure, I'll definitely come by. So it was one of those things where you just have to really put yourself out there, be a little ballsy, and just sell yourself. Not in a literal sense, but sell
But I
yourself.
feel like you have to be. I feel like both of you guys already are ballsy. I mean, you literally, and we can talk about how you chose it. You literally took that position that the entire game. I mean, I don't want to say the entire game rides on you, but when it comes down to it, when people look at the end of a game, it's a goalie that let the goals in. I mean, you guys obviously know, hey, my defense sucked tonight. That there was this, there's so much more. But all in all, when you get someone that just walks off the street, watches a hockey game, says, wow, that goalie let in 3 goals. I don't think about the backside of it. So why did you guys choose that position? That, I mean, essentially the entire team is relying on you.
I don't honestly remember why. I just remember my dad had me starting out as just like a skater, doing learn to play, and I didn't really like it. But I liked going to Flyers games and Phantoms games when they were in Philly at the time, and I used to see the goalies. We used to sit like behind the net a lot, and I'd see the goalies. I'm like, that looks really cool. Can I try that? My dad's like, no. And finally, after months of convincing him, because I told him I wouldn't play if he didn't at least let me try it, he got me suited up in a synthetic ice studio. There was a goalie coach that had a synthetic ice studio down the street from my house. And I got suited up there in a bunch of super, super old gear on ice that wasn't even real. Tried it out. And as soon as I got off, my dad said, what did you think? And I said, I loved it. So it all went downhill from there.
Now you're from Philly also. I know I had to pull teeth from Sydney to figure out that she was from up around Northeast. Now, what area are you from, Taylor?
So I'm not actually from Philly. I'm from I'm from one of the suburbs outside of Philly called Westchester.
I know
and
Westchester very well.
Western of Philly, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I'm from Westchester.
And for those of you that are wondering why you may have heard of Westchester, Pennsylvania, besides Westchester University is out there, that's also where all the jackass people are from, is from Westchester. That's all out that way also. So keep that in mind. So I guess the next thing in my mind as a dad, and I always want to be protective of our children and all these different things. What are some of the reactions that you get when you tell people, no, I play hockey? And because Sydney, you aren't kidding. Like, I've seen you standing next to other folks. You are what, 5'2"?
5'2".
5'2", and Taylor, what are you, about 5'3", 5'4"?
Oh no, I'm 5 foot. Exactly. 5
Taylor's shorter than me.
Exactly.
I think there's a picture somewhere of me and Taylor. She's shorter than me.
So
yeah.
So I mean, what was some of the like when you tell folks like, no, I suit up in 300 pounds of gear and take 70, 80, 90 mile an hour hockey puck shot at me, I'm good with that, rock and roll. What are some of the reactions that you get from folks?
Usually at first, they're like, oh, you play a sport. What sport do you play? And you're just like, hockey. They're like, oh, field hockey. And you're like, no.
I get that a lot.
No.
Exactly. No, I was like, no, I play ice hockey. And they're like, oh my God, that's crazy. What position do you play? And then they just freak out to find out that I play goalie. And, people sometimes don't believe me half the time, but that's how that goes for me. Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, I get about the same reaction at work. I started a new job a couple months ago, and now I'm out of training and kind of on the floor for work, and I'm meeting more people, and they're like, oh, like, we're learning about each other, and I get a lot of, oh, like, so you play hockey? And I'm like, yeah, you want to guess what position? Goalie's always the last position, or they'll think for a minute, and they'll be like, don't tell me you're a goalie. And I'm like, yeah, I am. And it's a lot of Oh, I never would have guessed. I never would have guessed you play hockey. So it's definitely a lot of shock. I wouldn't say any like negative things, but definitely shock.
But how does that make
Yeah.
you feel that people are shocked that you do play that role? That is your role, the position you play. That's what you enjoy. How do you feel about that when people react to it? Is it at this point, is it like you brush it off, or what's your feelings on that?
I find it funny, to be honest, because then it comes down to like I know what they're thinking. Like, how is this tiny little thing playing like the toughest position in one of the toughest sports? And honestly, then they're like, "Oh, you're crazy! I can never do that." Like the fact that you do, you're so cool, all this stuff. And honestly, it's not gonna lie, it's kind of like an ego builder. But
Nice.
I was just gonna say that's got to be a pride thing. I mean,
yeah,
especially you,
exactly.
Taylor, and we'll kind of go into it a little bit with talking about the bees and what possibly lays ahead of you for next season, because that's huge. But I mean, it's got to be a pride thing. I was telling you guys when I was talking to you earlier, I took my 6-year-old daughter to the Sportsplex, and she saw when I was with the snow, I mean, without even missing a beat. And I'm lucky that Gaylord actually up here has one of the best female presence for younger female hockey players, and like through there. And she immediately just said, and then my daughter's a badass, but she's like, I want to do that. Like, cool, let's do it. So, and I think one of the reasons that I'm able to kind of breach what Sean was talking about, where I'm not as worried, is because I've been around a lot of these guys. And I know that with the proper teaching, I mean, you said you had a synthetic goalie down there, and then you've got Babs. I'm just going to refer to him as Babs, but I mean, like, you've been around the sport, you know what it is. So it's just one of those things. It's awesome. And I feel like it's a pride thing for you guys, especially because you are bridging that gap for girls going forward. And it's a huge increase. And I'd probably say the past 5-10 years of how big women's hockey is getting.
Oh yeah, because
Completely
even
agree.
like when I was younger, like not that me and Sid are that far apart. I'm like the same age as Babs, and not that me and Sid are that far apart, like I said, but there is even a huge difference from like when I was playing at her level at her age, like back when she was playing like 16U, 19U. It was a much different dynamic, especially us growing up playing hockey in like a very similar area and basically playing on similar teams. There's
Play
such a
different.
different dynamic and a different setup than when I was like at that point her age. So it's just really cool to see it hasn't even been that long and it's already grown and kind of changed so much.
Well, I mean, look at one of the biggest things right now is the new NHL game that came out. You can now play as female hockey players in the new NHL game that came out. And that's groundbreaking. I mean, it sounds dumb being a video game, whoever my Call of Duty person is there, but it's crazy that it took so long to do it. But I mean, you've got a female on one of the NHL covers with an NHL star.
They
Yeah,
have
I
hockey
honestly
video
think
games.
it's great.
They have hockey video
Yes.
games too.
Yes,
They
they
nice.
have a lot of hockey games.
I have no
They've
idea.
been having them.
I have no idea. That's me being the smart ass. That's me being a smart ass. So I'm gonna ask this one because I know, because this is my brain, because we have who's the guy that's coming on, the extreme ice guy that's coming on here soon?
Just the Smoke. Yeah.
Justice Smoke. So he's coming on. I've been to a lot of events, especially it happens in lacrosse all the time, where goalies look at each other and kind of point the finger in the middle, like how everybody else is fighting. It's time to get it. Is that a thing in women's hockey? Like, is you taking gloves off? You throwing hands? What's the deal? No,
No,
Not that I've experienced.
It doesn't happen
nothing,
much. No.
not at all.
I've tried, but it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it
Wait, hold
happens
on.
every now
I
and
want
then,
that
but
story. Taylor, give me that story. I need to hear that one.
Well, it's funny. It actually wasn't with one of my women's teams. It was during my senior night in high school, and it was going so horribly because I remember guys saying, I was sitting outside of the locker room before I was allowed to go in, and I heard guys saying that because I was starting for senior night, we were going to lose. So we already knew the game was like they were done for at that point. And so the game was going terribly, and what happened was there was some guy, he just like hacked at my glove, and normally that's not something that would bother me. I know the guys are gonna rough him up a little bit, but I was just already just PO'd, So I'm like going up to him and I start shoving him. I'm like, "You want to fucking fight? You want to fight?" Like,
Wait a sec. So even your high school was you played with men?
I did. Yeah, I grew up playing both men's and women's in high school, partially women's in college, and then I transferred over to the men's in college again.
That is incredible to me. And I'm fixing my chair, so I know I look like a jackass right now. Head and knees.
So are you ready to throw gloves, Sydney? I mean, no offense to your hair, but Bab's hair in that fight he just got in the other day was so epic and just, I mean, he is known in the Fed as one of the goalies that throws down. I mean, it's, if you think of Babin and the Fed, like that's, yeah, he's gonna fight someone. I mean, it's just how it is. I mean, the Fed's known for fighting anyways, but seeing goalie fights is amazing. I love making that highlight video for him. So of course you're ready to throw down. But so going back to that, we talked about how Taylor became a goalie. Did he have any effect on you choosing that, or what was your decision process to go and play goalie?
Pretty much. I started off and I played in-house as a center for about 4 years.
Nice.
And I was so bad. I was so bad. It got to the point, like, I was so bad, I told my parents, I was like, I honestly don't want to do this anymore. Like, I suck. I'm not having fun with it. You know, I want to quit. And they're like, okay, well, your brother's goalie. Why don't you try it out? Instantly fell in love with it. And so, yeah, he had a big influence on it.
Love it. Are you going to make it out to a Rockers game? Have you made it out there yet to watch them play?
I have not, but I will be home for Thanksgiving, and he will actually be playing in Delaware while I'm home. So
Cool.
I will be making the trip to Delaware to watch him play.
Oh, that might be because that's his former team, isn't it? He was
Yes.
he was with them last year, so that might be a little. I've seen some bad blood between some of the other Thunder players that have happened, so that should be interesting.
Yeah,
So
it's going to be a great game.
And for those of you that are watching us live here on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, whatever, wherever you're watching us at, you can ask questions. If you want to throw a question up out there, you have a question for Taylor, you have a question for Sydney. I don't know what the hell you'd have for me or Dibs, but I guess you could ask us too. But I think we pursue. So throw some questions out, some things you'd like to know. Like those of you that are just joining us here, we've got Taylor Schwandt, and I'm just trying to keep that name right each time. And Sydney Babin, both of them have played, or one playing college lacrosse. Both of them play on men's teams. And
who played lacrosse?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking about a sport that I give a shit about for a second.
And then it's just Sean and Dibs because both of them left again.
God, I'm telling you. Well, here's one for you. If you didn't know it, and I've said this 100 times on the show, indoor box lacrosse is actually the national sport of Canada. It's not hockey. It's indoor box lacrosse. They created the sport so that hockey players had something to do in the spring. Did you know that?
Makes sense.
I didn't, but one of my friends plays like pro box lacrosse.
All right, I don't know who Dizzy. I don't know who you are, but listen to me. If you've never played lacrosse, you can't say lacrosse.
Lacrosse isn't a sport.
I promise you, there's nothing more. I've never watched a sport where people get beat up more. But you know, if you have questions, folks, please throw them out there. So the next step for you, Taylor, the big thing is you just signed with the MHL. Did I get it right?
The Mill, the MIHL.
MIHL. So you just signed with them, and you're the first woman in that league, correct?
Someone might have to fact check me on that. I don't really know. Dibs, I think you would know better than I would.
I'll fact check you. Seeing as I'm the one that's getting your PTO ready. Yes, so first female in the league. It's a huge thing. It's going to be a huge thing. I'm proud to be a part of it. So I will actually be your VP of hockey operations when you're with the Beast. So
I did know that.
Yeah, so it's a huge deal, and we actually were talking about signing you with the Snow at one point and wasn't sure what the schedule was going on. And then talking to Torgensen, I think it's huge with both of you guys being with MPH. I think it's a giant step. And I think that you could hang with these guys and I think you could show them something.
But what was that like to know that, hey, you signed a contract, you're taking it to that next level. What was that experience like for you?
It felt a little unreal because I've been through a lot with hockey. It has not been an easy journey by any means. I've gotten told no way more times than I've been told yes. I've gotten looked over, I've gotten looked down on because of my size, and it's just about getting those opportunities, and I'm just super grateful for the opportunity and the fact that there are people out there that can see me for more than just my height or more than being a woman. So, it feels really good.
Now this is a great, and I'm assuming that based on the way that Rachel just put this and called you Tay.
Oh, Rach. Hi, Rach.
She wants to know, what is your biggest fear and hope being the first female in that league?
I don't think I have any fears. Maybe just a little online hate, but haters
Really?
are gonna hate, whatever. That's about it with the fear. Because I don't think I'd be doing this if I was really fearful of the guys or anything like that. But I think my biggest hope too is to maybe inspire someone else that feels like I've had a very unconventional path, and I don't think there's any way I could ever get to a point where I'm playing at a higher level or even playing at like the semi-pro, pro level, whatever it might be, just to give somebody else hope that, hey, she did it, I can do it too.
Rachel says she's got your back, no haters. But are you really getting like keyboard commandos coming at you?
Oh no, I haven't, not yet. But if it happens, it happens.
I feel like our social media director will probably take care of a lot of the haters and probably direct it the right way.
Yeah.
No, and I could definitely see where you're coming from. I mean, in the mill has, I won't say a storied past, but there's definitely been some stuff and things thrown around that are not in the pleasant way of that. And we want to build that image, and we want people to know that they're out, that you guys are out there and that you can play, and you play at that level and you have that ability. And we want to be able to give you the yes, because you guys deserve it 100%. You're busting your ass probably more so than a lot of the guys in the league. So it's definitely good to see there, and it's good that you don't have that fear. It's yeah, I like that.
How about for you, Sydney? Now, I mean, freshman year in college, you've still got to, and I don't know if they do this the same way, if you can red shirt or anything like that at that level, but do you want to, like when this is over, have you considered like, hey, I'd love to sign and play at something like an MHIL or something else around an area? Is that something that you're interested in, or are you comfortable with like, hey, no, college is done, I'm going to start a career path in something, whatever it is? What's your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I've always wanted to go pro. So I'm going to keep chasing that for as long as I can. And then later on, when I can no longer do that, I'm going to open up a goalie school with my brother. So
a goalie, like that's help me out here. Help me out here. So is that a thing, or would this be like the first one of its kind? Like, I know you can get specific coaching for in sports and, hitting batting coaches, stuff like that. Is that like a thing in hockey where like there's, hey, we just goalies, that's all we deal with?
Yes, there's a lot of those. I grew up working with one. It's called Z-Tending. Shout out to them. Me and Trevor both work with this guy. I've worked with him since I was 8 years old, playing goalie. And he's been great. I still work with him now, and he's definitely helped make me the goalie that I am today. And so he's kind of inspired me and Trevor both to want to do that when we're older, because we want to share our love and everything for the game. So we want to kind of do that as well.
Now, flip this on its head a little bit. Since you both, it sounds like amazingly supportive families, parents that played the sport, people that were involved in your lives, that just, it really is impressive to me to listen to. But as a dad who had kids who played, who played sports and everything, I've seen the other parents. So if you knew somebody out there and you were going to give them some advice, like, hey, about a kid who's interested in, and I don't care what sport it is, we're talking hockey, so we'll stay with that. But what are some of the advice that you would tell a parent if their kid's interested in a sport like hockey?
Honestly, I mean, I would tell them to go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
the worst thing that can happen is they end up not liking it, especially you can find programs that will give you the equipment that you can use for free. Like I said, I also grew up on a program like that, an inner city program called Snyder Hockey. They provide equipment for free for kids, and honestly, without them, I probably wouldn't be playing hockey, and Trevor neither, to be honest. We both started off there, and I think that can really help grow a kid's love for the game. As long as they have support and people around them that will help them grow that love, I think everything would be good. Like I said, the worst thing that can happen is they say no, that they don't like it, and that's okay.
You kind of just mentioned this a little bit. That's a big challenge with hockey, isn't it? It's not just, this isn't, your typical sports like baseball, football, something like that, where most of your equipment can be given to you. It can be handed down. Equipment, a lot of it you're paying for. You got to pay for ice time. Most schools don't have a rink, so you got to find somewhere you're traveling. There's a lot of challenges. What other challenges are there if somebody is interested in this or their kids are interested?
I think finding the time. Yeah, I think part of it is finding the time, because, it takes up a lot of time, because you have to say, even if there's a rink close by to you, you still have to go to practice. You have to be there, allot some time to get dressed and get warmed up, whatever you're going to do. You're on the ice for an hour and 15, usually in youth hockey at the most, and then you're off, and you have to take time to get undressed and go home from the rink. And at least growing up for me too, with my travel, I played women's travel and then men's with middle school and high school teams. But women's travel, there weren't that many teams, so we had to pretty much go. If you're going on a weekend, you're going to a rink most of the time that's 2 to 3 hours away from you. So 2-3 hours there, 2-3 hours back takes up a lot of time. So if you really want to play, you got to be committed to it, and you got to be willing to have that time. And as a parent, you also got to be willing to drive and make some trips and take some time out of your schedule, because I know my parents gave up a lot to do things for me, and I know they made some friends and kind of had a social life through my hockey, but they do a lot of other things as well outside of hockey, and they gave up a lot of that for me, which I'm really grateful for, at least for a while. And yeah, I mean, it's a lot of commitment, just a lot in many other ways, physically, emotionally, mentally, just whatever.
You got your first question here, Sydney. Rachel's on it. I'm digging Rachel. I'm digging Rachel already. If my light goes away, it's because my cat has decided that he wants to kind of play with it himself here in a moment. Sydney wants to go pro. Who is your dream team to play for?
Oh man,
that's the Gaylord Snow. Gaylord Snow, isn't it?
No, I don't have a specific team that I'd want to play for, to be honest. There's no team, a women's team from Philly. Otherwise, that would probably be the one that I'd go to. But I just want to play. As long as I'm somewhere, I'm somewhere. I don't have a specific team that I'd want to be on.
Now, is there overseas women's leagues? I know we have a lot of women will play basketball overseas and other stuff. Is there the same thing in hockey?
Yeah, there's overseas. There's teams in a ton of different countries. I know a girl that played in Hungary and France and played in a couple different places. So yeah, there's definitely some.
Is it something now? I don't know if you know this or not. Is the money there? Is it something you can make a living on, or is it just more of that hey, I'm good enough to play at this level and I just want to keep on playing kind of deal?
Unfortunately, in women's hockey, you have to pretty much have a full-time job to be able to.
Gotcha.
Do you see that? Do you see that in the future? I mean, even if you look at the Fed level and even the SB, I mean, really, until you break into the ECHL and AHL, it doesn't pay a whole lot. I mean, do you see that potential? Obviously, Taylor, you're trying to break down the doors too. I mean, do you see that potential? Do you see that growth? I mean, just with everything that you've seen, you guys are obviously in the sport more than what I am, especially from the women's side. Do you see those improvements going to where, especially with what's it, NIL, the name and likeness and all that stuff, like the collegiate athletes can do now?
Yeah, I definitely see it growing. I mean, just recently, Grant Mentis just signed an $80,000 contract. That's the highest that any woman has ever signed. So it's definitely growing. Things are getting there. It's just going to take time, and you just got to be patient for it.
Yeah,
Love
I don't
it.
know how much time it's gonna take, but it is gonna, like Sid said, it's gonna take some time, and like I just don't know how much time, and I wouldn't have a guess.
No, I like it. And kind of going back to that, I just bought my Barbie just released when the US made the
you bought
yeah,
one.
yeah. Oh, I definitely bought one, not for me, for Breyer, we'll protect. But no, it's cool to see that's like, I was so excited to see that Barbie in hockey equipment. That's huge. Like, I mean, it's just something cool to see that push going through and to at least see that advancement. So
yeah, there's been a lot of growth. It's been great. Same thing like you said with NHL, finally adding women after all of these years.
Yep.
So there's been a lot of growth, and I'm honestly proud of it. I'm excited to be a part of it, and just got to keep climbing for it.
Love it. So you guys mentioned so twofold question. You guys mentioned how long, like getting geared up and all that stuff. Twofold. How the hell long does it take to get you into goalie equipment? Because I've seen our guys do it, and it looks like a pain in the ass. Two, do you guys have superstitions for your game? Like, have you adapted anything through how long? I mean, 14 years. That long. You've had to have adapted something. What's up, Mom, too? So she's a huge Red Wings fan. She lives down outside of Detroit.
Okay.
Go Flyers. Unfortunately, go Flyers.
Unfortunately. Exactly. Taylor, you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, for the first question, depends on what time I'm at the rink. If I'm getting
Yeah,
dressed for an early morning skate, I need to be there like at least 30 minutes before because I'm not moving quickly. But if I'm rushing, if I'm late, or if I'm just taking my time and then I'm like, oh crap, I have 2 minutes to be on the ice, I can be little under 10 minutes getting dressed.
Yep,
she doesn't
same thing
count.
for me.
She's a Lightning fan too. That's what her son is too. So.
Now, how about superstitions? Every athlete has superstitions.
Superstitions.
I have a lot.
I have I think mine are borderline psychotic.
Yeah, see, now we're getting into now we're breaking it down.
So I put my gear on the same exact way every single time, and there's a system behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the undergear, like the socks have to go on first, then the leggings, and then the shirt. It can't be the other way. And then, cup, pants, left knee pad before right. I put my right skate on first, and then my left, and then tie my left before my right. Put my left leg
That's called
pad
OCD,
on
Taylor. They have
it is. Right leg pad on left leg pad on before right. Then I put like my neck guard on. I do my hair, put my chest protector on, do my hair again, and then jersey, and then helmet and gloves. It doesn't matter. So it's kind of psychotic. That's why I said borderline psychotic.
How about you? Like, I'm just listening to this stuff. Like, I lose shoes. I'm walking around my house with I couldn't imagine doing all that. How about you there, Sydney?
I start everything right side. Everything has to be right side. Right sock, right pant leg, right skate, right pad, right arm, right everything. Everything has to be right.
So wait a second. Are you like half just right side dressed? Like everything else is hanging off of you?
That
Like,
just goes first. Right foot and then left foot and then right arm and then right arm. Always.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like, she just got half a layer on.
half layer on, and then now I can do the other side.
No, I switch back and forth, but right always has to start first. Before games, my dad probably hates me for it. I play the same playlist every time. So he's in the car with me. It's the same song in the beginning.
I was going to say, so I'm probably going to date myself because you're going to name something. I'm going to say, yeah, no fucking clue what that is because I'm not in tune with all the new stuff. So there you go. That's a good thing too. Like, what's your amp up music? Like, what is your playlist? Do you start at a certain level and as you get close to game time? Like, I know the guys, I play Pump It Up. I play Pump It Up for them, and I'm like, I don't know why you guys like this song, but it's what gets you. It's what gets you there. So,
Oh man, first song is "Bring 'Em Out" by Ti.
Bring them out.
Okay.
Bring them out.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, I'll
That's
give
the
you that.
first song. And then it kind of transitions into some Linkin Park, some Metallica, Avenged Sevenfold. There's some weird ones in there, and then it goes into some house music, and that's by the time it gets to the house music, that's when I'm like at the end of the car ride, just getting to the rink, so things are starting to pump up and get excited.
So you're in your zone at that point, almost.
Yes.
Like, yeah. What about you, Taylor? Let's go. What do you got?
So I'm actually super weird. I won't listen to music in the locker room. It's the weirdest thing. But then, like, if I do listen to a song, it has to be "I Mean It" by G-Eazy. And
Yep.
if I play it, I have to play it twice. And I recently started new trend on my way to the rink because I started playing really well. I don't know. Whenever I listen to this song on my way to the rink, "Unholy" by Sam Smith and Kim Petras.
Hell yeah.
So TikTok blew that song up, and it's not exactly like a pump up song, but it pumped me up.
So this Kim Petra. Do you know Kim Petra is there, Dibs?
Yeah.
So I was online and I'm like, and I love that song Unholy. I'm like, this song is a jam. And then I saw this thing pop up. She has a song called Slut Pop. And I was like, I need to know what this is. Don't play that song around. Really don't play it around anyone. That song, if it was a movie, would get a XXX rating instantaneously. Like, I've listened to some shit over my life. 2 Live Crew, like, it's on that level. Sydney, 2 Live Crew was a band back in the 80s. Way back. They were way back. Like, talk to your parents, grandparents, possibly. They know who that is. Just trust me. But like Kim Petra.
You think I was alive in the 80s?
Well, you might have been born. Were you at least born then? God, don't answer that fucking question. I have children older than I have a child same age as you, Sydney, and children older. God.
I'm fairly certain Sydney was born a year after I joined the military.
Ugh.
Yeah. So that was like 10 years before you.
And both of you can skate. And I have no idea what I'm doing. So, and I find this ritual side to, like, all athletes or some of them. Well, anybody who's in a competitive anything. Watch this. Hey, Dibs, how many pound cakes have you ever eaten in your Marine Corps career?
So pound cake's enough. Charms can go to hell. Yep. Nope. So in the military, you get these things in your MREs, like, and they're called charms, and they're basically like knockoff lifesavers, and supposedly, like, you can't eat them.
I'm sorry. Who's Sean Babin? Who is Sean Babin?
I wonder who that is.
Is that your brother?
That's my father.
Oh, your
Yep.
father? Oh, Sean. Oh, please. The fact that she. Oh, I'm done. I'm so done.
Oh, but yeah, no, yeah.
That's the greatest.
We're not allowed to eat charms. Like, they get slapped out of our hands. You're not allowed to eat them because if you eat the green ones, it rains. If you eat other one, like, it's no joke.
And see, you know what's funny about that is just the way you two get dressed different. In my generation, the Marine Corps, it was pound cake. If you watch somebody open up the pound cake, especially the fruit one, and start eating it, like, it was grounds to get beat up. It was full on grounds to take a legal ass whooping, and probably the command group would watch and let it happen. If somebody was like, what's going on here? Dude, he ate the pound cake. Oh, you get the ass whooping, because it would rain in the field if you ate the pound cake. It would always rain. So yeah.
Then why did they serve it?
It was in your MREs.
Bullshit, stupid superstition that has no base in fact whatsoever.
So you made a valid point there, or a point there, Taylor, about change. So you guys have your superstitions, but once you said once you started playing, Rippets. Oh, good God.
I don't even know. After my generation, I don't know.
Yeah, I found we got little cans shipped to us in Iraq, and I still find them at the dollar store and get PTSD.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So you said you started doing good. You changed your tradition. Like you changed. Do you guys both do that, or you try to stick to what's going on, or is it one of those like, nope, I won. I'm not changing. I'm not washing these socks until we lose.
I try to stay the same as best as I can. I'm definitely one of those people like, oh, if I don't do this, like I'm not gonna play good, you know. So I definitely try to stay the same.
What's some of the weirdest? So you, again, both of you've been doing this for a long time. What is some of the weirdest things that you know other athletes do that you're like, what are you doing?
I know it's kind of weird. It's something I do. Like if I'm like starting to have kind of going through a little rough patch and I haven't cut my hair in a while, I say, oh, it's the hair. And then I cut my hair.
Well, how about you there, Rapunzel? Because I saw Sydney playing with her hair earlier.
Yes, my hair is very long.
Do you have anybody, not even your own traditions? I'm talking about like somebody else's weird shit. Like some real, like, is there anything you both have seen where you're like, what is going on here?
I sat next to this one teammate for a long time. She did not wash any of her gear because since she scored, she washed her gear and she had a terrible game. Yeah, she washed her gear, had a terrible game, so she stopped washing it, and then she started to play good again, I guess, and so then she stopped washing it. And I was next to her for about 3 years.
I would immediately request to change stalls. I'm good. She can have the one.
No, it wasn't even stalls. This was just a locker room that you just walk into and choose whatever. But every time we just ended up next to each other somehow.
That's terrible. That is beyond terrible. Yeah. So going back full circle, talking about futures and all that stuff. So I think looking at it, Sydney, you're majoring in sports management and criminal justice. Nope.
I am majoring in. It's been a long day. Okay, it's been a very long day. I've been up since 4:00. Like I need to sleep. Okay. I'm majoring in criminology and I'm minoring in sports psychology and sports management.
Cool. I was close. I got half of something. I don't know.
Yes.
So, I mean, what is your what does your future look like? Obviously, you said you wanted to start a goalie school with Trevor once that time comes. But like, what's your, I won't say dream job because I feel like that's a loaded question. But like, ideally, what do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up?
So what do you want to be when you grow up? So tell me all about it.
For a while, I wanted to be a surgeon, but I got older and that changed, per usual. And then I wanted to become a detective. I still do, but because of the hockey route, I honestly don't see that happening. But I'm okay with the detective part not happening, but I'm not okay with hockey not happening. So hockey is definitely going to be the route that I go.
So with that sports psychology, like, are you looking, I mean, obviously, I feel like that's a fairly, I won't say broad, like it's obviously narrowed down, but are you looking to like help people within, like with the sport? Like, what do you want to do with the sports psychology type aspect of that?
Recently, I've been thinking about it. There are a lot of people in sports that have a lot of mental struggles, and they have very, very hard times, and I feel like that's not talked about a lot. So I want to try to be a person to kind of help promote that. I'm part of this club here in school where it promotes athletes' mental health, and I honestly think it's a great club. I've only been to one meeting. I haven't been able to be at too many because of hockey, but I think it's super, super important, and that's probably something that I'm going to end up putting into it.
No, see, and I really like that. It hits huge, especially for the snow community, because we lost Terrence Gillard. We lost him this year to Some pretty kind of the same thing, like people fighting demons that you don't necessarily know that they're fighting. But I mean, I know he knew he had a family within the team and stuff like that. But it was definitely, I feel like with someone like you, that would be able to assist that to do that. Because I think like Sean was talking about, it's especially with hockey, it is that like it's almost like the military, Sean, where like you have to be tough to do it. So I feel like people don't feel like it's approachable to be able to talk about those mental issues. I mean, the effect of losing a game is in and itself painful.
Well, this is kind of for either one of you. What getting into that mental health side and the competitive level when you're constantly competing. Did you have any feelings when during this past summer games when Simone Biles said, "Hey, I gotta drop out of this. I gotta take a mental health break. This is just too much at this point." And then you started seeing some other athletes. I can't think of her name right now. The young lady who plays tennis. And you started seeing some of these athletes. How did you feel seeing that? Was it, oh great, I'm supportive of this, or was it you're competing, other people are relying on you? How did you feel about that?
Definitely a mix of like a little bit of a mix because I understand, as a competitive athlete myself, I understand it's very, very taxing and there's a lot of mental challenges that come along with that people don't understand and that people don't realize. But I was also kind of in that same mindset because I kind of grew up on that mindset where, oh well, you have to be tough, especially as a goalie. Nobody can think that you're weak because as soon as they think you're weak, they're going to start getting in your head and they're going to start getting in your head and you're not going to be able to play. And yeah, you have to basically just live with a mask on all the time. Essentially, you can't show much emotion. So for me, it was a little bit of both to where like, okay, yeah, you have people competing on you, like, you're a competitive athlete. It's part of that. It's part of being a competitive athlete and part of having that stage. But part of it's also like, I do have empathy for them. And I do think, hey, maybe it's good that they're doing something like that because it's going to change the narrative a bit. And people are going to it's going to be more acceptable to prioritize mental health than it was before.
What do you think here, Sydney?
No, I completely agree. Growing up, you are, especially in sports, and even a lot of times being a girl in general, makes it a lot harder growing up in sports. And, you are taught to be strong. You have to be strong in order to play these types of sports. And if you're not, you're kind of looked down on. And, you know, you have to be there kind of for yourself. And you just have to be tough for yourself, and sometimes that's hard, and I feel like that's not talked about enough. So definitely proud of them for speaking up about it and for doing it. But at the same time, like she said, we kind of have to push through it sometimes because of what we do, and that's what makes it hard.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a double-edged sword for you guys too, to the point that you do, like when you do say like, oh man, like all right, I gotta step back for a second, because I feel like unfortunately, and I think it's changing for the better, but a lot of people's first reaction is like, oh, she's just being a girl. Like it's just because she's a girl, like that type of thing. And,
That was
that's
going to be my follow-up question to that
yeah.
was we saw, and thank you, Rachel, Naomi Osaka, we saw Simone Biles. I didn't see anybody on the men's basketball team drop out. I didn't see, and do you think that also is that double standard? Like if a male athlete would have dropped out, and maybe one of them did, and I just didn't catch it. If a male athlete would have done it, would he have been chastised for it? Like, you should be better than that. But since it was a female athlete doing it, it was like, hey, empowerment, go for it. Do you think there's a double standard there?
I think it's honestly always going to go both ways. You're always going to have people who hate it, and you're always going to have people who love it and agree with it. So honestly, I can't say that one would be more than the other. That more just goes off of how people are and how they see it.
And I think that's how it's got to be done. I mean, that's really, I mean, if you look at Luke Kuechly when he retired, he had 9 seasons in the NFL, something like that. And he basically just said, No, I'm done. I'm done being concussed. I want to live for the rest of my life. So, and a lot of people kind of same thing. There's a lot of people that supported it, like that whole CTE thing, and kind of went there. And then there's a lot of people that were like, that team relies on you, all this. And I mean, you kind of have to, I don't want to say you have to pick sides, but I think you guys both took the right angle at it, that, you kind of got to find that middle ground where you support, but also at the same time, you do have a team to support. You have all that. So that's proud dad moment. I saw Sean comment that.
He's all on it. This is an NHL player that just took a leave. Can't think of his name. So I guess somebody in the NHL just did it. I mean, and we're seeing it more in some of these, but I mean, it's a very interesting piece. So we're gonna get ready to put a bow on this whole thing, close the bar up, and get ready to close down here. Sydney, what's upcoming next game? If somebody wanted to see you play, is there? I'm in Albany, so is there a streaming way for it? Is Wilkes putting anything out like that? How can somebody come see you play?
This weekend, Friday, Saturday. Friday at 3:00, Saturday at 2:00. We are versing Buffalo State. You can easily search up Buffalo State Athletics on whatever browser you use, and it will come up. They will be streaming it on their website for their women's ice hockey team, so it'd be easy to watch.
Well, hopefully my buddy Chris Higgins is watching. He's with Amtrak. He's actually works out of Buffalo, and both of his daughters play hockey and play travel hockey.
Okay.
And hopefully he's watching, because that would be a game that he could go to. How about you there, Taylor? When's the next time we could see you right skate, left skate, tie the left, undo the right skate, fix my hair 7 times, can only play this long, but I play it backwards while wearing sunglasses. When can they see you next?
So, I mean, if you want to come watch me play men's league right now, go for it. But so the team that I'm playing for, the Killer Bees, they're not coming into the league until next year. So I'm on a little bit of like a kind of like a training and just, working type of hiatus. I'm really just working on my craft right now and getting ready for next season. So fortunately, it's going to be a little bit of a wait, but it'll probably be worth it.
That's right.
So, yeah. So real quick, I mean, I know you're going to kick ass, but if it makes you feel any better, the standards in Battle Creek, do you know what? So the Battle Creek Bees, Rumble Bees, were a team last year, and their record was 145-2. So you get 2 wins, Taylor, and you brought hockey back to Battle Creek.
145-2.
I think so. They definitely only had 1 win, and I believe 45 losses, 42 losses. It was bad.
Wow.
So we're gonna try to revive the Hive and bring it back.
Is that the slogan?
Yeah, revive the Hive and fear the swarm. Revive the Hive and fear the swarm.
Oh, that was very creative. Did you come up with that, Dibs?
I don't know. I might have had a part in it.
Oh, God.
Man shouldn't butt into anything that ain't his own affair.
God. So, all right, folks, we're getting ready we're going to put a bow on this thing. Sean says, search YouTube. What do we search? Oh, YouTube has some of the worst minor league sport team ever. Was that who were they really considered as the worst minor league sport?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. They won 1 game in an entire season.
Were they at least like the Bad News Bears of it all?
No.
There was no redeeming quality.
So funny enough, one of their goalies is now our starting goalie this weekend. So fingers crossed.
Oh my goodness. Well, make sure, folks, you get out there and you check out Taylor and you check out Sydney and support them. If you've got somebody in your life that's looking for some sports, looking to get involved in something, it's definitely worth it. Babs was on that team too.
I'm sorry.
Okay, there we go. So
that explains why he's throwing bows. That explains why he's throwing bows in Motor City now. He's taking out pent up aggression for
just mad, just trying to get all that shit out. So make sure if you know somebody, make sure you go follow Taylor, go follow Sydney, go see what they've got going on. Make sure you support them. When MHIL starts
MIHL. Mill.
whatever. Hockey
Mill.
starts back all up again. Is that streaming? Is there a way for people to stream that there, Dibs?
Yep. So I'm actually working on an agreement with a couple of organizations to try to get it across the board, but working with Torgs, we will have streaming. I mean, it'll be 100% one of the things we do down there. So we will have streaming.
Nice. So make sure you're supporting that and taking a look at what they've got going on. Give everybody a little bit of a heads up for next week. We've got Chris Loran. He's I don't know how the belt system works, but he does Krav Maga. You both know what that is? Do you know what Krav Maga is? That is like the Israeli Secret Service fighting style that basically just translates to rip something off and feed it back to them and beat them to death with it. That's pretty much what that whole thing's all about. So he's going to be on next week talking about fitness. You may want to join us in 2 weeks after that. We actually have a 2-time Canadian Olympian coming on. I can't think of Christine's last name right now. It's escaping me, but she was a 2-time Olympian rower that's going to be on. So we're staying with a kind of a sports theme for the next couple of weeks. It seems to happen all the time. We get into a little bit of a routine here. So make sure you're sticking around with us for that. And also I'll make the announcement now for those of you that have heard me talking about Phoenix Shaving. That is all, classic smells, using actual safety razors. If you've never heard my buddy Doug talk about it, he's got an entire conspiracy theory on why we shave with like blades that have 75 razors in it for this whole thing. And if you listen to him, you'll never go back to using one of them again, and you'll just use a regular old school safety razor. But him and I we're gonna have a little bit of a giveaway coming up here soon, folks, giving away some stuff from Phoenix Shaving. So pay attention to that. It's getting ready to come along. And if you're liking what you're seeing here, make sure you like, follow, subscribe, do all those things. If you just found us, we greatly appreciate that. Bye, Taylor. We love you too there, Sean.
Love you, Pop.
But that's the best. Like, I'm a dad. I tell my kids all the time I love them. My 5-year-old's the asshole. I'm like, I love you. And he's like, beat it, Dad. The rest of them are all like, I love you too, Dad. I appreciate you. My 5-year-old's like, beat it, punk. Like, such a turd. But no, so make sure if you're just finding us through all this, make sure you give us a like, follow, subscribe, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok. If you have a cause and you want to get involved in stickering a cause, make sure you reach out to us. Even our email is the Above the Bar podcast. Also, something that's really important is if you're listening to this podcast, take a moment, whatever system you're listening to, whether it be Apple, whether it be Spotify, it's pretty much where everybody listens at this point. Go on there, give us a 5-star rating. This gets bigger. More people hear about Taylor. More people hear about Sydney. The higher the stars get on that thing, the more people that find us. If there's something that you've listened to with us and you liked it that much, you doing that, I know it might sound cheesy. I know you've all heard it. If you got kids and you've watched all these videos, like and subscribe, and you had to deal with all that. The reality of it is this gets bigger by you doing that. This gets to more people by you doing that and going on those things. Dibs, you got anything coming up that you want to tell everybody about?
Yes, sir. Home openers on Saturday. We'll be on YouTube. Gaylord Snow Hockey. We're doing breast cancer awareness, rocking the pink, slap shot against cancer. So we'll be rocking these jerseys. Most likely we'll be auctioning them off for one of the local breast cancer organizations, doing some other cool stuff. So, yeah, home opener is this weekend.
All right. Now, Miss Taylor, Miss Sydney, one of the things, because I know you've probably listened to, this is episode 151, so I know you listened to the other 150 episodes before this, because you wanted to be prepared. You wanted to be ready. I understand that, and I appreciate that. So you know that we end every show the same way, and you guys can rock, paper, scissors for this any way you want to do it. We could have our first female hockey fight on here, the way you're like next to each other on the screen, however we need to do this. But the guest always gets the last word. And do not log off after this. I got to talk to you for a moment. So who wants to go first? I say go rock, paper, scissors. Let's do rock, paper, scissors. Are you ready?
All right.
We're going to do rock, paper, scissors. All right. I'll call it rock, paper.
Wait.
Did you forget it? Did you forget how it works?
No, just
Okay.
it was a bit late.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, is that so? So Taylor wins.
Yep.
So
That's
Taylor,
how I
do you
got
want
that
to go
one.
first or second?
No, we go best 2 out of 3.
Oh, you're gonna go
best
2 out of 3.
That's
Yeah.
only
All right,
good.
we'll go one more then. All right, here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. The draw right there. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Bro, she changed
Yeah,
the last one. All right, whatever.
Taylor,
No, I didn't. No, I
It's okay.
That's the competitive
She went.
That's the competitive side of this already. She's like, she cheated. I caught her. I saw her kick the bottom.
I really didn't think I did.
I saw her kick the bottom of the goal out. To remove the net. I saw it. So Taylor, your choice. Do you want to go first or last?
Yeah, I'll go first.
All right. What's the
So-
final word you got for everybody?
Final word. I do want to give a shout out to my goalie guys, my goalie coaches, goalie doctor, Matt Tendler and Mitch Harris. Sid said something about Z-tending before, so I need to give a shout out to my guys and just thank you to everybody that tuned in, and especially my friends and family.
Sydney, what's your final word?
The same thing, shout out to friends and family. Definitely shout out to Z-tending. My dad, parents, obviously. Brother especially, though. Huge shout out to him. Trevor, most of you guys would know him. He's been the best. So shout out to him. And thanks, everybody, for logging on and listening to us and what we have to say.
Alrighty, folks. Be sure to push your stool in.
This has been an Earplug Podcast presentation, found on earplugpodcast.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and wherever your favorite podcasts are found.